Hello there, great person. So we finally did it, or I did it. I did finish volume 1 of Dream Afterlife on Royal Road. So it's out now, and it has been a very long process. Actually, I did look it up. We started the volume in May last year, so almost a year of Dream Afterlife. And I just want to use this video to give some experiences about the release, the writing, how it was to release a web novel, because normally I do write either short stories or normal books. And yeah, this one was a very, very fun experience. I will talk a bit about it in this video. I will cover some core points, and I just want to share some experiences I had while writing this, while drafting it, while finalizing it for Royal Road, and how the journey has been over the past year, so to speak. And yeah, it's gonna be some bullet points I want to address, and I do think if you are a writer or if you've been following the story, you might be interested in what I want to say here or have to say. And there will be spoilers for volume 1 of the Dream Afterlife here as well a bit, but I want to mainly talk about the process of writing and of posting and of reading comments and of all that stuff. And yeah, so there might be some teasers for the book itself, but I'm not going to focus on that too much. Just want to share what I have gone through, the positive and some of the negative as well, even though there was not much, but it was so fun. And I want to share that with you now. So yeah, if you are new to the channel, normally I do reactions. I do have a PhD in psychology and physics, or the intersection of those, and I do discuss a lot of stories on this channel, mostly anime currently, but I've discussed books before, like Dune. I've discussed live action shows like Three Body Problem, and currently I'm watching The Expanse. So, I mean, that's where I'm from, and that's what I love. And that is where the book is from as well, or the web novel. So let's just start. You can jump ahead in the timestamps. So feel free to get to the place you want to look at, and I will just cover some basics. And I hope you have fun with it. If you have fun with it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Perhaps you like my other content as well. Also, do check out the web novel, of course, if you want. But yeah, you can also wait for the end of the episode, because then I will talk a bit more in detail about that one. So yeah, let's start with some basic stuff though. So for all of those who are new, I want to talk a bit about how I started the web novel and why I started it, or rather why I started writing down this story. So I do think everyone that writes probably has this one story they want to tell in their lives, and this is mine. I've waited, I think, 20 years now for this one. I've started writing when I was 14, wrote my first stories. I wrote 2 books. One was like 292 pages. The second part of that was 512. So I got a feeling for it. Like, it was an okay book. Like, it was nothing I would post nowadays, not by far, but it was the first entry into writing something longer, and both of them were very cool to write. My classmates loved them, but you know, it's like I was a 14-year-old idiot that thought he was a writer, which, like, I mean, you could argue I was, but in the end, I felt that, or nowadays, I feel that it was awesome to start it, awesome to write. There was some really cool stuff I did, I think, but I failed on many parts as well. And so it was my entry into the world of writing, though. Then I wrote horror stories for 10 years, the Hebrew Reports, if you know them. I don't know if you know them. They're pretty successful, I guess, on YouTube as audiobooks, read by the great Withers 22, as always. He has got a brilliant voice. He turns them into very, very awesome audiobooks. and I think I've got about 600,000 clicks on them. So I mean, he has, but the stories are. There's something people like. I've got a lot of positive comments, some negative ones as well, which I loved as well, because it made me realize what problems I still had in writing. So I wrote these short stories. And then there was the day when I watched Attack on Titan, and you can actually see that on the channel. Because I reacted to Attack on Titan here 2 years ago, and it was probably one of my favorite stories ever told. I absolutely loved it. And at the end of it, I was like, I've got my own story. I know how it starts. I know how it ends. And I just want to start writing it down. And that was very, very awesome, because I knew I could do it now. Debatably, I did it. I started with Volume 1 of Dream Afterlife. And I do think there are rough edges. I know I don't have an editor, which is something... I just don't have the money. I've got lots of stuff to cover, my children and living where I live and stuff. So I don't have money to afford an editor. I know my writing would be a lot better with an editor, but it's it's for free for everyone. So I hope people can look past me not having an editor. And I do think it's fine as it is. I myself know, if I put 1,000 more hours into polishing it up, I would have a lot of a better story in the line level. But it's out there now, and I'm satisfied. Should I ever publish it as a book, which I might do? Though I mean, currently the clicks and stuff and the feedback is not at the level where it would be people are really interested in it, but it's some people are really interested, and I love that. But I don't have the money and resources and time to do that. But it was really, really cool thinking I can write it now. So after Attack on Titan, I was I wrote down the start and the end, and I thought about it for 4 days, and I was where's the story? Where's the middle? Because I've often experienced in writing that with horror, I always had one idea, one really cool concept. I wanted to explore it. So I wrote a story around it, and I was okay, what's a horror concept, monster X is doing Y, and what would that be in situations? So every time I think of a horror concept, I try to figure out how can I make it scary, and what different effects would it have on the world or on the people. Foremost though, the people, because I've started to become a very character-driven writer, and I really loved that. And with that, I was I can write the story now. I know my characters now, and I wanna bring it into the world. And that was the first of the two big things that happened in my life. I watched Attack on Titan. I know that's a bit cheesy, but I was this is so genius. I love that everything was planned out. There are hints in episode 1 and 2 and 3 for the ending or character developments, and that's how my novel is now as well. Volume 1 is full of very, very, very big ending teasers. There are very many things people have not seen yet and not discovered yet. Even though, I mean, with people, I mean the 4 people who probably watch it, or watch it, read it, and try to dissect it. But there have been awesome comments, and I will get to that later. But the groundwork for the ending is laid out in Volume 1 very heavily, and no one's seen it in any way. And it is so exciting that people pick up on the little hints. They see the hints, but they don't know what they mean. It's so fun. So I wanted to do that. So I think, at least for the people who read it currently, I hopefully have succeeded in doing it like Attack on Titan a bit, where there are hints that will, I know they know the hints now. So I know they will be hopefully satisfied with some very big reveals along the way. And I really love that, and I loved writing that. And the second thing was, which actually was a bit more of a negative thing, but I had a very, very sad personal death in my very, very close circles. And that was something I knew was coming, unfortunately, but I ran away from it a bit, and with writing one of the 3 storylines in volume 1, so volume 1 of my book, or my web novel, has 3 storylines that are intertwined a bit, more or less, and they will be more or less in the future as well, but they're all central. Though one of the storylines deals with grief a lot. Like, all of them deal more with grief than I expected, because I wanted to explore that due to personal loss. And one of the storylines, actually, I used that to work through my grief. And if you've read volume 1, so the character of Brela is very, very close to what I thought of my best friend who died. Even though he was not a little girl that was happily living in a village and had depression, like the thing he died of was not depression, but Brela dies of depression, so to speak. And I wanted to explore that, and I just wanted to understand what it is like if you like kind of deal with something that heavy, because in normal life, like in everyday life, I'm not the person that goes to people and cries. I'm not the type of person that goes to people and talks about stuff. I use writing to cope with stuff. And I used the Adio storyline in volume 1 of my web novel to cope with the death of my best friend. And it helped me a lot. So that was actually quite a good way of dealing with it, and I hope it made the story a bit richer and more personal. And so that's how I started writing it. And I always wanted to explore the idea of death, because the story takes place in the afterlife. And the afterlife is something I've been thinking of for a long time. I guess everyone is, I assume. But the afterlife I depict in the web novel is something where people, they don't have their memories from their previous lives, which is something I think I've never heard before. And I wanted to explore that because it felt very interesting. Like that if we die, we carry over something very important, like the thing that makes us us, and that thing can flourish in the afterlife or be corrupted, and what that means. So in the way, like, what do we carry over? And it's even in the Tease, in the web novel, or the novel, whatever you want to call it. It's the question of what do we carry over from the life behind into the afterlife. And the afterlife I write deals a lot with death, with identity, and with transformations. And I just thought it was so interesting to explore. It enabled me to create a magic system that is, I do think, unique-ish. I'm careful with that word because I don't think anything is ever really unique, but it's like I basically fused my knowledge of psychology with physics for the magic system, and the magic system in the first volume probably seems pretty sometimes volatile, random, and weird, but I do have very, very strict rules. So I'm a mathematician a bit, I'm a physicist, I know the rules of the universe a bit. Let's say it like that, and I wanted my story to have that as well, though they're not explained in volume 1 as that. Like in volume 1, it's probably very mystic, very weird, but I wanted it to be like that because I do think now that I talk about that, it is how I perceived physics when I started it. Like you are doing day-to-day business, and suddenly you realize there are rules to the world, and what are they? You start to describe them, you start to explore them, and that's how the characters deal with the magic system as well. Like the magic system is not something that some word of God character tells you, it's something you experience. So the magic system in the volume 1 especially is very exploratory, and the characters don't know it. And in one of the 2 one of the three storylines, or two of the three storylines, the characters don't know anything really about the magic system, so they try to explore it. And I've not seen that done often. I wanted to explore it myself. Ironically, how would characters deal with magic they don't understand? Even though there is rules, but that's what I wanted to do. And the last question is probably why I started a web novel. Like, why not publish it as a book? Because it's too long. Like, volume 1 now is 1,000, I think 100, like 1,100 words, something like that. No, what am I talking about? 1,020 pages. You can't publish that. No one would care. Like, no agent would care, no publisher would care. I could, I've played with the idea of publishing 3 books, because we've got 3 storylines, so we could just publish 3 books, but I want them to be read like interwoven, in an interwoven way. So in the web novel, you jump between the 3 storylines, like it's storyline 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and from a meta perspective, there are ideas that are similar across those 3 storylines, and I wanted to be read with the 3 storylines mixed. You could read it. If I would read it, it would be like if I would if I would read volume 1 and wanted to read the stories in it, it would be Uda's storyline, and then Ray's storyline, and then Dio's storyline. That's how I would read them in one go. And I'm playing with the idea, and will probably do that these days, that I will link the next chapter of each storyline and the next chapter that I want you to read, so you can decide if you just want to read one storyline or if you want to read it the way I intended to. But yeah, so a web novel is episodic. It is something that will actually publish something on this volume, even though it's free for everyone to read, which I like. I want my stories to be freely available, because I hate gatekeeping, so that was a plus. And I love that I get some comments. I don't get many comments, but the comments I get, they're very consistent. And I think there were 2 people that commented on each arc, almost, and I very, very much drew some uplifting feelings from that, let's say it like that, because if you just write something, you publish every week 3 chapters and no one cares, it's a hard thing. I will talk about that later, but at least there were 1 or 2 people that read it. And those 1 or 2 people are the ones I think that it was written for in the end. I mean, in the end, I think I wrote it for me, which I think you should do as a writer if you want to have fun. And again, about that I will talk later as well. But it's I got the reactions, and I actually added 1 or 2 lines in chapters that were not released yet to address some stuff that I thought was perhaps not as clear as I intended it to be potentially, and I rewrote some future chapters from the commons, so to speak, and that helped me. But that's why I write the novel, what I think about it, and The next thing I want to talk about is some basic things on the story itself. Very quickly, I will not do a self-plug here too much. If you want to read the story, read it. It's in the pinned comment, and on Royal Road Dream Afterlife, so you will find it. But so I wanted to do a multi-POV structure. There will be more POVs in the future. Not all the POVs that start in Volume 1 will carry over. And I have some main POVs in the future that you don't know yet. And some characters, 2 characters of Volume 1, actually no, 3 characters of Volume 1 will be main POVs in Volume 2 that people don't know about yet. And they would not guess them, I think. Do they guess them? one they might guess, like one of them they might guess, but two they will never guess what the POVs will be in season 2, volume 2. So, but I enjoy writing different POVs because I do think that's what I want to transport as well, the multi-POVs of ideas. Because there are stories, and I've often read very good stories that are from one POV, but you just get the POV of one person, obviously, because that's in that name. But the problem I have is like, how can you attack an idea or illustrate an idea from several perspectives? And you can do that in single POV if you just have characters that are having other opinions than the protagonist, or have warped opinions from the protagonist. And you can do that as well, though I wanted to get into the shoes of the people that are, so to speak, having ideas that are contrary to the main character's ideas or the protagonist's ideas. And I wanted to really feel them, so I wrote their perspectives. And that's why I do think as a writer, for me, it's very good and rewarding to do that, because I get to see the ideas I want to explore in the story from different perspectives as well. Because when I write, I learn something. That's what writing is. It's learning about an idea if you write with your heart. And I know that's a bit surface level, that statement, but like, you know what I mean, perhaps. And so I wanted to have multi-POVs. I wanted to have a world that is a bit unconventional. So the dream, I've said it's the afterlife, but so the rules are not, you don't have a fantasy map in the beginning because there's no map. There are areas of interest and they're connected, but the connections change. And I think you could do a map, but the map would just be basically bubbles of places of interest. They're connected, but in the story, the landscape between those places, it's pretty similar every time you travel through it, but it changes as well, and different distances change and all that stuff. And I also wanted to have a world that reacts to the characters. And the magic system basically is reacting to the characters. So the characters shape the world. It's not like that there is a static world that they live in, but depending on what they feel, what they think, what they experience, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, that will shape the world. It will change it. And it is something that I wanted to explore as well. The positive and negative side of changes and of experiences. And there's a lot of focus on transformation I wanted to explore. For example, the let's say evil, and I'm just using that to like somehow categorize it, though I don't believe it's really evil in all cases, but the evil things that are in the world, they stem from traumata, from anxieties, from the dark side of the human psyche taking shape in the world. And people have to deal with that. People have to deal with their own grief, with their own hate, with their own guilt, with their own anger, and with other people's as well, because they are shaped into the world as well, and they attack. So that was very, very fun. And that's something I wanted to write about. And I will not spoil more because otherwise I would spoil future volumes. But yeah, that was the primal idea. So have a magic system that's basically your emotions, your core being reshape reality. And you have to understand yourself better to shape it more. And the reality shaping is still confined to the laws of physics, by the way, which is only hinted at a bit as an Easter egg, so to speak, in Volume 1, in the training arc that Ray has. But that's what there is. Yeah, let's talk a bit about the writing itself. How did I write the book or the web novel? So I do think in most web novels, you just write every day, or every 2 days, or every 3 days, you just write the chapters. and then you post them. You have a backlog, I think, most of the time. For example, you have a backlog of 50 chapters, and then you would have a Patreon where people could pay for those 50 chapters in advance or something. That's at least how I understood it. And yeah, you just go and go and go and go. I didn't want to do that, actually. And I know that's unconventional. It will probably cost me even more readers, but I will do every volume. Like, I will write the volume to a point where I'm like, yeah, this is how it's about to be. And then I will fine tune each chapter before it is released, which I'm doing currently as well, like, or did. Like, volume 1 was like, I wrote it. I had, I think, how many chapters I do think I had 52 chapters. I split it into three railroad chapters each chapter. So there are now mini arcs, and that's what I drafted and refined, and then I started publishing it. But during publishing, I started adding more stuff. I started to refine it again because I had some distance, like, because when I write something and I have a little pause to think it through, to let it sink in, I can see it a bit more clearly. So I expanded on stuff. And a chapter, like a railroad chapter, I drafted was mostly like 1,200 words, 1,500 words, like something in between that. And then I expanded sometimes to almost 3,000 words. But I just wanted to make some stuff more clear, more present, more lingering. Though there was always a pacing challenge in a bit, because it's writing and you always have pacing that has to be fine-tuned or tuned at all. And I mean, I do agree to the notion that many writers have, where a scene should either advance the world building, advance the characters, or advance the plot. Best would be all three. And I try to do at least one or two always. So I do not think there's a filler chapter in volume 1. Not a single one. The only one I could consider filler chapter currently is the door arc, like the penultimate chapters that Dio has. Though there is a lot of lore building, like there's a lot of world building, which teases a lot of future stuff. Not endgame though, which might be a spoiler, but volume 4 stuff. And yeah, but in the end, it could have been, like, I guess an editor would have cut it, but I just loved it. Like, I loved writing it. Like, I also loved the voice when Dio fuses with the village he has called home that has just been destroyed. And he's just fusing with the memories of all the people he's just lost, and he sees its history. I just thought that was such a cool idea. And yeah, sometimes people say kill your darlings, but no, fuck you, I'm not going to kill that darling. I published it, so now it's there, and I'm proud of it, even though it was hard to write. So yeah, it was like the biggest challenge for me as a writer in my personal writing style is always like, don't be too fluffy. And I don't mean fluffy with redundant. I mean, like, don't get too much into the characters while writing. And I don't mean like me with a mindset, but I mean while writing, don't write too much into them, so into their inner worlds. Even though in my story the characters do have inner worlds where they can withdraw themselves too, but like, think about what's happening outside the characters. And yes, they can react, they can internalize, they can think, but don't bloat that up too much. I still think I'm failing a bit in that at least in some places. And I sometimes do sentences that are too long. And I think, like, I try my best, but in action sequence, I think sentences should be more short and more like bam, 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 you know what I mean? And I think I managed that sometimes I don't. I'm actually practicing rewriting some action sequences, and I did that while polishing up the chapters. So, for example, I polished up that was one of the hardest things to do, the sequence where Rey is in the monastery the monastery is fucked because still is like burning with the black flame and the nightmare, like, and he's like gone, and the nihilism has him, and he's just like everything's collapsing in on itself, and like the whole, like, so they have got this monastery of belief systems that they carried over from the real world, so they have that, and it's just like in the person who like is the abbot, who's the chief of it, who holds it into place, he's like afflicted with nihilism, with fears, and it's just contorting and multiplying, and it's like a really abstract scene, incredibly hard to write. I hope I transported at least a bit of it, what I wanted or what I saw in my mind, and like our main characters like trying to figure out where the source of this distortion is, like why is he afflicted, this abbot, and who did it? And she's like trying to find it, jumping through like buildings, folding and multiplying, and like she's crashing into things, and it was so hard to write, and I think I fucked it up a bit as well. I don't know if the chapter's actually readable. Like the first one was completely unreadable, but it's like I love the idea, and the danger is I tend to lean too much into the abstract, and I do my best to not do that, to ground it in the dream, so in the world it has, but my writing is sometimes too much abstract, and it was very refreshing to rewrite it after like a year. Like I think I wrote it a year ago from when I published it, like the draft and stuff, so I could look at it, shorten the sentences, try to clear up the words, the phrasings. I hope it's clear what's going on. Because the problem is also that not only is the abbot in that storyline confused and afraid to lose his or her meaning. I don't want to spoil anything, even though I do. I don't even know what's the point of me trying not to spoil. So the main character is like also very conflicted, struck with grief because her best friend just got offed. And she struggles, and so the surroundings mirror that a bit, even though it also mirrors the person responsible for the distortions. But yeah, that was so hard to write, and I have such a problem with balancing action and introspection and clarity and mystery as well, because I know the end, I put in hints. But the problem is sometimes I feel like they're like people, of course, cannot see them. So sometimes there might be stuff that people that read it for the first time are like, what the fuck's going on? Why is this happening? Or why did this happen this way? And there are always explanations in my head, and they will be cleared up later in later volumes. But it's like such a high risk to put that in, because people will be like, yeah, what the fuck? I don't give a shit. Like, you're just writing random shit. And I can see that. And I'm having a very hard time balancing this, like someone that is like, yeah, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And oh, something popped up. Oh, why was the main character saved now? And like, there are machinations that lead to that in my head, in my rule set, but making that transparent enough so people don't like jump aboard, no, off board, like off the ship. Whatever you say in English, like it's hard, and it was very hard doing that, and I still struggle with it. So I actually love writing this for that reason as well, because I actually learn a lot from still writing this. Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the reader recipe, like the recipe, what is it called? Like the way people received it and commented on it, and yeah, that was very interesting. It was in part disheartening, but in part very uplifting. So the story currently, as it sits on Railroad, it does have more than 50,000 clicks. So each chapter counts for a click. So it's like it has 340 readers on average, each chapter. And like that might be a good thing, but like basically no one interacts with the story. So that reader behavior is something like, I always think it's like a dead story, not gonna lie. So I'm currently just posting for myself to get it out into the world, not gonna lie. like, I know no one really cares. I want to shout out Karpmedis, who's still reading the story, who has found many cool hints, even though interpreted perhaps sometimes wrongly. But he did comment on every arc, and he had so much to say. And he, I think, read the story the way I wanted to be read, like as a mystery a bit, like as something that has to be taken seriously, perhaps. Not saying that other stories aren't taken seriously, but like it is something that's not low cost. You can read it in your break. It's not. That's not the story it is. And it is though something that I'm always like there's the part in me that's like, I wish more people would actually give it a chance or read it or stay with it. And with Royal Road Publishing, you don't have a chance to see why people drop it. So I think people dropped it pretty quickly, actually, which was disheartening. It made me sad, but what can you do? Probably should write better, you know? But it's like, so the first chapter, I think, has almost 5,000 views. Second has 1,500, which is a drop of 25%, like down to 25%. And then it just goes down. And it's like the number is something that irks me. Even though it's so weird, because I love the people commenting that really comment on it. Though, like, I have to be honest, it's just one person that comments. Like, I've got 440 comments, I think. My own are counted in, so I have 220 comments because I answer every comment. But yeah, so it's basically one person commenting, and it's a very big story, and there's so much to discover. There's so much to discuss. I feel like if I would have read it and it was not my story, I would have discussed in a forum. I could have said so much about it and no one does. You know, it's so disheartening though. Like, it's like, I do think no one cares about the story. And that's something you struggle with as an author. Because let's be real, authors, like, man, I'm gonna piss off so many people, but authors often, like, no one cares. No one cares. Like the authors you know, or the writers you know, I wouldn't even say, like, am I an author? I haven't published like in traditional publishing. I haven't published there. Can I even call myself an author? I'm a writer. So I'm like, but writers, like most writers, don't get anything in the world. It's the Pareto distribution. Like, I know the chances of me getting more than 100 people to care about the story are zero. Basically, they're zero. And I know that. And there are moments when I write it, when I refine it, when I think about all the future plans I have and the ending and all the emotional things that are going to happen. I'm like, no one will see that. No one will care. And I do have some imposter syndrome as well. And I mean, I'm not a native speaker, as you've hopefully already realized from the way I speak. Like, I'm not a native speaker, so I've got a handicap already. Try my best with looking up stuff, with some deeper polishing of the sentences, like, because I wrote two of the three storylines in German and one in English, and I do my best to do it so it is even readable. And you know, it's like the reader behavior is like, I currently think some people might click on it, most people don't give a shit. And two, perhaps I assume, like, I know of one person, like Karpmedis, is currently reading it and commenting and engaging. But other than that, I know of not a single person that is engaged with anything past chapter 30 of 153. So that basically tells me it's a dead story. Like, the story's dead. The story's dead. Like, no one cares. And that is something that gnaws at me when I write. Even though I won't stop. I won't stop the story. I will write it to the end because it's my life's work. And I know I'm not not an author. I'm a stupid writer that sits here 2 hours some evenings, tries his best to write something that people might like. And in like 2 years or 2 months, my shit's forgotten. I know that. But you know, just need to vent it, what I want to tell the world, even though no one might listen. It might also be the more quickfire generations that read currently, which I understand. Nowadays, media is very quick decision, quick reward, and stuff, and that's not the story I want to write. I've started writing a story that's more along those lines. It will be a trilogy. I will probably finish in like 10 years when I have the time. And I think it's more to the liking of people. It's always so hard. Do you want to write for the people, or do you want to write for yourself? And I think you can't just write for yourself, but you can't write for the people if you want to stay true to writing and that you want to explore, you want to do something new, even though you fail, because no one can really do anything new. Let's not kid ourselves, like no one does anything really new. And I think that's fine. You just explore different facets of an idea, like in multi-POV. And yeah, so basically, when I see my stats, I'm always a bit depressed, but I'm like, you know what, at least 1 or 2 people in the world liked it. At least it was 2 people. So I gave a story to perhaps 2 people in the world, and they liked it. And it's a free story, so everyone can read it. But it's like psychologically, it's taxing. Like sitting there 2 or 3 hours writing a chapter and then no one reads it. It's really hard. I've had that for a long time. I think the best thing that happened to me was with 22 reading my horror stories, because I wrote my horror stories. Some got like 5 views on Reddit. Some got like 2 or 3 got like 400 upvotes. And that made him see me and made him like read my story. And then I'm like, yeah, I've got others, and he reads them, and they're very successful on his channel. And like, but like, it's like my stuff was never really read by people. What I have to say is, though, that the positive thing is that the people who do engage more than the first 5 or 7 or 8 chapters, most of them have very positive things to say. Like some people have said it was inspiring to them. It's like, I have to keep writing, and they love the story. And some people were like the people that did comment more than once were like, yeah, try to figure out the mysteries. And I really like that. And I really am glad that there are at least like 5 people in the world that my web novel did reach. And even though like it has 50,000 clicks, just basically no one seems to care, which is so wild and so funny though. Like, it's gallows humor a bit, I guess. I'm not gonna let it stop me, but it's like, but the people that comment, like every comment makes my day. Every time I see someone commented, makes my day. And even though the people that say they will comment more, they never do. They never really do. But like, I'm so glad for those. So yeah. That is about my experience with publishing it. And then I see other stories as well. I'm not gonna lie, I see the other stories that get like 1,000 followers with like 2 chapters. I'm like, okay, guess I wasn't good enough. It's like, I also think it's easy to put other stories down, like, yeah, that's slop, that like just the masses want to know. It's not right. Like, I've seen the stories that get so many views, and they're good. They're good stories. So I'm always like, yeah, my story's not good enough. This story I'm publishing is not good enough for views. It doesn't hook people. People don't know what to think about it. And I actually did change today. I did change the synopsis because I think it was misleading a bit. And yeah, but you can't do that. Like, I do think at least some people like it. And it's always good to see that my writing is liked, at least by some. And I think sometimes you have to listen to those. Yeah. So let's talk a bit actually about this one, which was something that moved me a lot as well. It's cover art and AI. So I'm like, when I it was like, I was pretty stupid as well, I think. But I was like, so I finished this web novel draft, or the book draft, and I want to publish it on Royal Road, and I'm publishing on Honey Feet as well. But I'm like, I wanted it to have a really cool cover. So first I wanted to have an anime cover. Like I wanted someone like to draw the 3 main characters the way I wanted, and have a bit of a style of like perhaps even more older anime, actually like not Sailor Moon, but what was the other one? I don't know. Like some cool anime art that's not like the chibi or anything. And I just wanted that, and so I looked for someone to draw it. And I did, unfortunately, do a brain fart. I looked on Fiverr. So I got a scammer, I think, and they did create AI art for me with the prompt, probably 2 seconds, got some money, which was hurtful as well. And then so I proudly presented my cover to the world, and was like, yeah, this AI, fuck you. And I was like, okay. So I was really mad. Like, I think on this channel, that was the biggest gut punch I had. Because I did, like, if you write a story, you always have this, like, vision in your head. Like, everyone will be like, yeah, it's a really cool story. Let's read it. It's so cool. Let's engage. And when I released the cover Tease, which I didn't know was AI, because I didn't know it was just starting. Like, nowadays I would have been like, yeah, fuck, this is AI. Of course it's AI. Give me back my money. But it's like, I didn't know, so I was like, yeah, okay. And then people started just shitting on the cover, and like no one cared for the book. So I've poured a year of 3 months of my life into that. Every evening, like writing for 4 hours. I worked through very hard traumatic stuff in my life. I did try to put the thing I wanted to tell people most of my life ever in words, and people were like, yeah, you use AI probably to generate shit, you have a AI slop cover, and I get it. And there was some very constructive criticism as well, like, yeah, mate, perhaps changer, that's AI. And I'm like, you know what, you get a free story, you get a fucking free story, and there's just a cover to make you see it. And I was like, it wasn't even that I was not willing to pay the money, I did. But it was like stupid of me, that like it was my mistake, but like it was like everyone shat on it. So my web novel launch, like, disastrous, I would say. Disastrous. So yeah, so my cover was shit. And then I found another artist, Zoe Arts. She does very good covers. She does more spicy stuff though, or he, I think it's he just uses a female name. But I think, I don't know. Let's just say them, whatever. And it was a very beautiful cover, and it is the one I have now. I did change the font to make it more stand out what it is. So that's the cover I have now. Yeah, I don't know. It's like this AI witch hunt shit. I've seen it on some platforms as well. And people are starting to get really insane. Like, they see AI everywhere, they debunk it everywhere, and it's so straining. It's like, I'm almost at the point where I'm like, if you enjoy a story, fucking enjoy the story. And if you find out it was written with AI, okay. It's unlikely. I personally think it's unlikely. I've tried out AI, and it's soulless. It's very soulless. And it has these patterns like the EM dashes and the like 3 descriptors and stuff, some of which I do as well in my writing, which is like, I guess there's overlap with everything. But it's funny though, when the EM dash discussion came, I think it was the end of 2025, like October. So EM dashes were the thing that you couldn't use as a writer. And I was like, just lose them. So I used them in some chapters because I wanted to try them out. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm a fucking idiot. I didn't know what an EM dash was before that. I've been writing for almost 20 years. I didn't know what an EM dash was. I never used it. Like, I used the minus sign. So I tried it in some chapters. But yeah, I mean, I didn't care. I'm not really using N-brushes anymore. I didn't even know how to type it really. So yeah, but I don't know. You know, I'm like, there are these arguments like, yeah, if you use AI, you like, there are people you don't give money to, and if you don't have the money, fuck you, who cares? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm unsure about that. I do think that's the problematic thing is that it's like stealing stuff. I mean, I could make a steel man being like, yeah, if there's an artist, he looks at the picture and replicates it as well. But I know it's not that easy, you know. So I'm not going to pretend I could justify it in any way here. I do think you can use it a lot in streamlining very by the book text processes, like summarizing and shit. But it has its limits. It has its very hard limits, and I just don't like it a lot. You know what I like with AI though? I like being quizzed. Like I sometimes have an AI quiz me. Yeah, shoot me at wastewater, but I just like being quizzed by an AI. That's fun. But other than that, I don't really like it that much. I hate it for art generation. I hate it for text generation that's creative. Like you can, like if you have to fill out a form, you can perhaps use it to get some explanations for what something is called that you have to fill out, because like German bureaucracy is shit and they've got many long words and stuff. So like sometimes you have to look it up, and that's the quiz way. But I don't know. I'm in creative writing. It is a detriment. I was playing with the idea of letting AI write a book and show how shitty it is on the channel, but I don't have the time. Just don't have the time, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, and yeah, that was the story of AI with the book. So the AI was used by one cover without my permission, scamming me. But yeah, it killed the book. It killed, like the web novel was basically killed with that, I feel. Because, you know, I do have this channel. There are like 23,000 subs. And most of them were like, yeah, fuck you, you use AI. So anyway, that was like sad. Like, I was very sad about that. I did actually put the channel on hold for 2 weeks, I think. Because it was like something where I was like, I put my heart into this and you were like, yeah, you use AI. Or like, not even me. But like, anyway, that was really shitty. So that was the low point of publishing the web novel. Anyway, let's get to the next point. So let's talk about writing one volume. How did I actually write it? I did talk about that briefly before, but let's do that again. So I basically, how I write, it is like I draft the volume. So I write out a text very with broad strokes what happens. I've done that for volume 2. So like the outline, as I would call it, I think that's the correct name for it. The outline for volume 2 is 95% done. I've written 3 chapters already as well. But I will take a small hiatus after volume 1 to like let it rest, get a bit of distance, be like, yeah, perhaps some people will find it. And I need to like let the volume 2 ideas grow a bit more, like the details. Though there's some really awesome stuff I think I will put into it. But yeah, so volume 1 as well, I drafted it. So I wrote perhaps a page. The storylines of each of the 3 main characters was, or 4 characters, was a page. And then I started like sometimes 2 lines of that page were a chapter, sometimes 5 lines or 6. And I started drafting chapter titles, putting them in, refining the content, and then I started writing. I started writing the what did I write first? I started like the first thing I wrote was the Uda Nia storyline. I wrote that first. That was the first thing I wrote. And after that, I wrote the Ray storyline. And after that, I wrote the Dio storyline, because I knew the Dio storyline would kill me because it has the Brayla stuff and the death stuff in the end. And I knew I had to work through my grief there, and I put it off a bit. So I wrote that last. But yeah, I basically wrote 1 or 2 chapters. No, a chapter 1 or 2 days, and each storyline has about 15 chapters. I think 12 to 15, something like that. So it took about 3 months to draft it. It was probably in the end 4 months, because I did take some breaks sometimes I couldn't write, but I basically wrote it down in 4 months. And then I let it rest. Then I let my fatigue go away a bit with writing, because I was a bit fatigued, and I was like, yeah, let's start rewriting it a bit. So I went over everything, edited stuff, tried line level editing, read it to my wife, she's not past chapter 3. I don't know. She sleeps away when I read to her, whatever it is. Can read to her whatever it is, and she sleeps away, so not a good audience. And other than that, no one in my surroundings wanted to read it. They didn't care. So, I mean, it's whatever. And yeah, so then I started preparing the chapters. So I split it into 1,500 words each. I looked for a publishing schedule, and I publish Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays almost every time. And I did go through it, the chapter, I polished it up, I rewrote it, I added some stuff, sometimes I added a comment, and so it was really cool. It grew a lot. So now the last chapters I wrote, the last 40 or so, I was really in the mood of adding stuff and making it more coherent, I hope. And so with that said, volume 1 is done, and I published it, and I had a lot of fun writing it. And I know not many people read it, but if you want to read it, if you are into philosophical undertones in your story, character introspection, a story driven by the characters, not by the plot, and magic systems that are based on heavy psychology and physics, both of them, and the afterlife, I think you can check it out. I mean, it's, as I said, for free on Royal Road. And yeah, it is basically volume 1 is about trying to get a grip of the world they're in. So Uda tries to figure out who she is and why she wants to save everyone, why she has this drive to protect people, even if it costs her sanity, her life, or if she has to pay it with a lot of pain and suffering, and she still wants to do it. Why is that? That's what she tries to figure out, and what to do to save the friend she cannot potentially save. The Nia storyline, which is intertwined with Uda, is how can you get up after you suffered a loss? How can you get up if you think the people putting you down are a lot more powerful than you are? What can you do, and how do you try to change the world for the better, even though you are falling into darkness yourself? What are you trying to hold on then? The Dio storyline is basically what does it cost to live a life of peace? Where can it go wrong? What can you find, and what will you lose? And Ray's storyline is, what if the responsibility you shoulder is too much? Who are you then? What do you become? What do you choose? What do you do if your power is so big that no one can match you, but there are still people that judge you? And can you be the judge, or can they? Or do you let them judge you? And what do you do about the evil in your world? How do you counter it? I think that's also the question. What is evil? What is the darkness in people, and how can you counter it? It's the core of the story. And yeah, if you like stuff like Frieren, Attack on Titan, Bleach, you will probably like this story. And if you check it out, make sure to perhaps, if you like it, review it, and like it, follow it. I don't have any followers really. I have 2 reviews. So for 50,000 clicks, 2 reviews is nothing. It's so bad, and tells me how fucking bad the story is being received. And it's sad, but I still do my best. And I still love writing it, and it's so much fun. It was so much fun writing this. If you've not started it, I hope you give it a chance. And also, if you drop it, tell me why, what you don't like. But yeah, I know it's hard to ask someone to trust a story from a writer they've never read, and to trust the person that like weird stuff is willfully weird, plot holes you might find. Like, there's not been a plot hole found yet in the comments, but if you think there are plot holes, most of them will be, by the way, intentional. So anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this little introspective into my writing style, into my writing ways, into the story, into web novel publishing. Even though I know it's a niche web novel, I'm not writing a power fantasy per se. There's power fantasy in it, but I'm not writing by the book stuff. I write stuff that has been done before, I guess, perhaps with a new flavor, but I'm not going to pretend I write something new, but it's not the usual stuff. And I don't know, if you like the channel and if you like me as a creator, perhaps check it out, support me. And if you read it and you like it, leave a review perhaps. That would be very nice. And yeah, as always, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, and see you around. Bye.